ECAfrica100, connecting entrepreneurs on the African continent and beyond. Profiling 100 entrepreneurs in 100 days. Tune in as we amplify African excellence with your host, Vanessa Perumal, on Africa Business Radio.
Hi guys, this is Vanessa Perumal coming to you from Africa Business Radio. Thank you so much for tuning into a brand new concept, a show that was conceived in a mindset literally. Today is a personal journey for me because when your network cheer for you on the side is one thing. When they invest in your vision is another thing. But when they dress up and show up and on time, let me give you a hand clap. Thank you, Rayana Adams. I'm saying Rayana Adams. I'm calling you Adam. How are you, Rayana?
Oh, I'm so great. It's great to be in your company and to sit with a friend, a mentor.
Now tell us your name. I called you Adams
visionary.
instead of Edwards. I was so excited to see you. Rayana Edwards, tell us what you do and who you are.
Well, I wear quite a few hats. Today, I'd like to bring it into one space.
Awesome. Is this
Okay.
new for you too?
We're all on a journey,
Right,
okay?
right.
And like you just said to me earlier, you moved into your powerful space.
In
which
this podcast.
Exactly. And for me, this has been that year of growth, and it's about consolidation. So when you ask me that question, what do I do?
What do you do?
I'm the CEO of a company called Harem Consult. And Harem literally means a circle of women. And in the circle of women, we do coaching, we do clothing, and of course, we do consulting.
Okay, now before you even go on, so this show, lots of people had contacted us as soon as they heard about the movement, and I agreed to Africa Business Radio because I know Soji, the co-owner, and just the other day I met Leroux, the CEO, and we decided to sign on the show without even meeting anybody in real life. And the scalability of the show in African markets, Pan-African markets, is huge. But Harem, I'm thinking of Morocco, I'm thinking of your African Islamic countries. Tell me about Harem.
Absolutely. Harem really does capture that essence of Arab meets Africa. And so
Okay.
we have an Afrofusion, and the focus really is on contextualizing all the cultures that makes Africa so unique. In my design aesthetic, we draw inspiration from countries like Morocco, the whole North Africa. I personally have lived in Kenya, in East Africa.
And the Kenyans love the show, I must tell you. They've been writing in all the time. They love it.
Well, Kenyans are entrepreneurial people by nature. When I came back to South Africa, I always said, I was so excited because it was just after freedom. And I said, wow, Kenyans need to teach South Africans about business.
And I like that Rayana will bring such a big, wide, global Pan-African view into this conversation. Just for context, so I thank you entrepreneurs for tuning in. So every week we unpacking in a very masterclass way of lessons to learn on how we can avoid pitfalls, how we can master opportunities. But Rayana, because I know you personally, I also like the fact that you never give up, man. As an entrepreneur, you have 5 daughters, one of whom is studying medicine. I saw she delivered a baby the other day. You have Saris for Change. You do pop-up markets at flea markets, and you specialize in conversation. You're on the golf course. The golf course, I must tell you something. Women entrepreneurs listening, I'm very disappointed in my male counterparts. I spent the weekend with some friends and they signed $1 million deals. Not once have they had the respect to look me in the eye and invite me to the golf course. And Rayana, for every second, is trying to get me on the damn golf course. Tell me about it.
I think that when we started, one of the companies that I'm a director of is called Unimedia. We developed a brand called Pink Stig, and the brand was developed purely to include women golfers, and to acknowledge professional golfers at that level not being recognized, and to focus on the disparity that they were experiencing, not only in competition time but also money. They weren't earning as
So
much
we
as
must be playing, as an entrepreneur, we must be playing on
Definitely.
the correct field.
Do you know the amount of networking that takes place and the amount of actual business that takes place on the golf course? Think of this, Vanessa. When we walk into corporate and we want to pitch, we have 1 hour. That's
we're looking for the
standard,
CEO.
That's standard practice. And then you have to go through all the gatekeepers, etc. On a golf course,
They're
you're
all-
playing with them. And you have 4 to 5 hours of getting to know them and them getting to understand, what it is you're really selling.
So what is it about women like me and people you're trying to teach to get into the... What is our buffer?
Let's not forget that the golf course is really being in God's garden. You're exposed to sunshine, you're out of your comfort zone, you're surrounded in this beauty. So there's oxygen, there's circulation. Already, everything changes about you.
But we're scared as entrepreneurs to step up.
Get out of our comfort space. Make the golf course your office for the day.
And yet we could sit in a small business office for 10 hours and wait for someone to see you.
So what are you doing differently?
Okay, that's a good business lesson to learn.
Take your camera out, take it out into the gardens and go and sit and listen to nature, and you'll be surprised at what comes back to you.
Okay, so get out of your comfort zone, get into a new space. Quickly tell me, Rayana, about Saris for Change and the impact. You seem to be creating work. I mean, you've touched my own life in a way that sees me looking at cash flow differently.
Okay, let me just briefly tell you about Sorry for Change and how it was birthed 5 years ago. And I'm saying 5 years because it was a hard journey. When I started, I've always been in retail. That was my very first business globally.
So sari is a fabric. It's an Indian fabric.
But I saw it as a resource, because if you look at the older generation, they wore their saris with so much poise and elegance. Our younger generation are not interested in the sari at all. That is 6 meters of fabric resource
which
stashed
they wear
away.
In Mali, the women in Mali also wear saris.
And we need to learn about this, because that's the other aspect of my project. Here we've got women in South Africa working with the sari, learning about the culture of the sari as seen through the eyes of Indian women, not knowing that it's worn in other parts of Africa.
When I went to Burkina Faso, I was blown away. I didn't understand that.
And there's parts of West Africa as well. Sudan, oh my word, I love the way they drape the saris in Sudan.
So people give you the saris. Is it
organizations, they started off with the Art of Living. It's a global organization with millions and millions of members.
So you take a project that has sustainable value and jobs.
Absolutely. And resource, reduce, recycle.
Okay.
3 R's, simple. Okay. What is our footprint? What are we doing to change it?
Right.
Okay. If we look today at fast fashion and we look at the ills in Asia, okay, women working in a sweatshop environment under the harshest of conditions, it's abuse on all levels. Here I'm saying, let's take the humble sari, give it to somebody who doesn't know how to sew, teach them, skill them, give them the business skills. Is this what the
work you do does?
Absolutely. We've got a component of upskilling, and then we've got the business component.
Okay, can this be scaled in other countries on the continent?
Please, let's replicate this.
So what are you doing as a solution to replicate the model on the continent?
I think that before you can even think of that, you have to perfect what you have. And this is what this 5 years has been about.
I know this project of ours, Entrepreneur Connect, is a 14-year project.
Well, then you know what I'm talking about. And if I tell you, Vanessa, this year is the year for Sorry for Change. We are on the brink of exporting to Australia. We're already exporting to Sweden.
And we have a meeting with someone from the United Kingdom, the two of us.
So sustainable fashion is really where the pulse is in the fashion industry right now. And I've never considered myself to be part of mainstream fashion. I just couldn't deal with the pressure. It's cutthroat. For me, it was, how do we monetize this in a fair way where everybody benefits? Before, we used to have the designer who is in front of the camera and in front of everything and makes the money, where the back, like we would refer to the back office, and I'm talking about your production people, are really being exploited. That model has changed.
So now I'm excited because I think this is a show that we can work together on, Rayana and I. We're always looking for business opportunities and how we scale models. But I see a masterclass in your coaching and online, maybe even joining the 100 entrepreneurs in 100 days so we don't replicate models. Tell me about the work you're doing there.
Well, I've been doing some guest lecturing at the University of Johannesburg purely around that, looking at an alternative economies whereby we really plugging in.
You call it the sacred economies?
Yes. It's a sharing economy. This project cannot grow if I'm not receiving a sorry from you.
Right.
With the intention of doing good. As women, we all want to do good.
Absolutely.
That's the start.
Right.
From your sorry, we have a free resource of fabric.
Right.
Okay. That's then goes into the system. Okay. By the time it comes out, there's an exchange of money because we know exactly what products we want created. We know what our markets are dictating, and it's matching that.
Okay, let's get back to the business side of things because we're going to wrap up soon. Tell us where you fit in business from your vantage. What are the common mistakes we're making? And from your lessons, what can we learn?
Okay, first of all, Vanessa, I think we have to be honest with ourselves. Not everybody is an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And these days,
pushing it down.
Everybody's being pumped entrepreneurship. Then, if you know that that's your weakness, get into the mindset of an entrepreneur. Find somebody that can sit with you, can coach you, can mentor
that's
you.
Huge. That's an aha moment.
We have to be honest with ourselves.
What's the mindset of an entrepreneur?
I always say start off with a SWOT analysis of yourself. We learn about the SWOT theory in marketing lessons. But have you ever done, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses?
Right.
Where are the opportunities and the threats? So
Rayana's talking my language as a strategist, guys. What I would do if I were you, I'd do my square and put my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities,
threats.
And that gives you a basis to start, hey?
But go in with the mindset of an entrepreneur. We normally take it to a product, or we normally take it into a business, but you representing that product and that business.
Right.
You are your own brand.
Right. So you seem to be doing 500 things at one time. Is that correct or not?
I've downscaled it, okay?
So there is a way. You need to have method in your madness.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The method to the madness is they're all linked, Vanessa. If I tell you that we are in the process of taking over a huge production plant.
Tell me about this. Are you allowed to talk about it?
Not yet. We'll do an interview another time, okay? Purely for that. Manufacturing in the textile industry.
Wow.
Okay, but we're on the verge of doing a huge partnership. But to get there, all these different steps was necessary.
Right.
Okay? So when you're starting anything, what is the end vision? Okay. And then you work backwards.
Right.
Okay, so throw it out. If you're a ballerina and you want to become a ballerina in New York, that's your end vision. Now you go back. You need to get the best ballet lessons. What do you need to do to get there?
So I learned a word from you, which I don't often use except when I'm around you. And now that you've impacted so much of what I do, cash flow. Tell me about cash flow.
So you were talking earlier about me doing markets and pop-ups and... Vanessa, it's all about cash flow.
How do we?
You need to have money in your bank. You need to have money in your business account so that when we need PR, we need marketing, because that's so important for our business.
Risks, but also take calculated risks and have some money all the time. A business that doesn't make money doesn't exist.
Then why are you doing what you're doing?
Okay, I want us to give us some hope, Rayana, because I think we're so wounded as entrepreneurs. Your pearls of wisdom before we end, and how can we find you?
Grasp the opportunity and look at the gaps. Right now, everybody's, we're in a recession. But in recessions, there are opportunities.
Right. And Western and European countries get it so much better to prowl on our peril. Is that true?
And that's it. Take ownership. Be proud of who you are and what you represent. So in South Africa, why do we have queues of other countries coming in to want to invest in our country? What is it that they want to invest in?
So we have to find the opportunity?
Find the opportunity, but also understand the markets and what's happening at the moment. You can't tell me that you're an entrepreneur and you don't know what the headlines are and how did we get there, etc. I'm not talking about the corruption. Okay, we are in Africa.
So you say look at the opportunities and then build from there.
Look at what you got to offer within that opportunity.
Perfect. I love it. I love what you're wearing. Tell me about your design component, because I'm trying to pack you all in. And how do we find you?
Thank you. Well, I'm on social media, first of all. I'm on Instagram, Rayana EC. I'm on Sorry for Change Facebook, and then Harem Consult on Facebook as well.
Right. And you're scaling your product. I've been watching this more and more. That's taken time to get off the ground?
5 years, and we finally have opened up segments that we would never imagine. I mean, I never knew that part of Sorry for Change is now going to be focusing on festival wear. Wow. Okay, and the festival goers are increasing.
We should have another conversation at some point. So look at the diversity of how your product can scale.
Yes.
Before I go, you've given me your hashtags. What do you think of this platform? You've heard about it.
Vanessa, I've been one of your biggest fans, as you know, and I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here. I always say, please, you have to meet my friend Vanessa. She's crazy as hell, but she's a visionary. She is what entrepreneurs need.
And you like the setup and where this conversation
I love it. I would urge everybody to come out, support this. It's a movement. I see it as a movement.
It's absolutely a movement.
I think it's gone beyond Vanessa's vision.
Absolutely.
Okay?
It's a shared
I feel we need to all take ownership of it.
Thank you for
and we have to
investing in it.
call
I
it
appreciate
our vision.
Love it. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
and it's a vision that we need to then pass on the baton to our youth, you know, and
Scalability.
that exactly.
Thank you, guys. Time has run out. Rayana, you'll find her at Harem Clothing. Is that where you're
Correct.
at? Find her on Facebook. We're going to put some stuff up, always on Twitter. A good following on Instagram. Thank you for joining EC Africa 100, my favorite part of the day. My favorite part of this entire project has been this podcast series. I'm so glad. I'm actually even getting to like my own voice because the way I love the show. Because there's so much knowledge. I keep on saying, I wanted to go to Harvard for a semester. I never knew that the gold and the miracle of the EC Africa journey will be a kaleidoscope in a conversation. So I'm so excited. EC Africa 100 is where we're at. We're delighted that Africa Business Radio is where we're at. We love your comments. We like the fact that you're excited to see us. Thank you for sharing your photos and thank you for connecting us so generously to your entrepreneurs in your country and on your continent.
You've been listening to EC Africa 100 on Africa Business Radio. Join the conversation. #EC Africa 100.